Have you ever felt like your life is on the verge of something monumental, like there's an invisible hand pushing you toward a destiny far greater than you could have imagined? You've been chosen. You've been called to something bigger than yourself, and you're on the brink of experiencing an acceleration that will transform your life in ways you never expected. The universe, or rather, God Himself, is setting the stage for your elevation. But here's the catch. While this moment of transformation is coming swiftly, it requires you to be ready. It demands your faith, your trust, and your willingness to step into the unknown. This is not just a shift, it's a divine acceleration, a whirlwind of blessings and changes that will carry you into a new realm of power, purpose, and influence. But are you prepared for the speed of this transformation? Are you ready to receive what God has set aside for you? This message is not for the faint-hearted. It is for the chosen ones, the ones who have felt the weight of their purpose and the call to action. Today, we'll dive deep into how the acceleration of your life will unfold, how you'll step into the mantle of power and authority, and how you must respond to God's call without hesitation. Brace yourself, because things are about to move faster than you can imagine. The divine acceleration is here, and it's time for you to rise. The chosen ones and the call to action. Let me tell you something, the moment you were born, the world didn't understand who you were or the power you carried inside you. You've always felt a sense of urgency, haven't you? Like you're supposed to be doing something extraordinary, but there's always this tension between where you are now and where you know you're supposed to be. You've felt it, the stirrings deep within your spirit. You've tried to ignore it, maybe even pushed it down. But it keeps coming back. That sense of calling, that sense of purpose, is not just a passing thought. It's the foundation of your destiny. The chosen ones like you are called for a higher purpose. It's not a call to comfort or security, but to action. Every step you've taken up until now has been preparing you for what's to come, even if it hasn't always felt like it. There's a moment in every chosen one's life where the path becomes clear and they're called to act. You've probably been wondering for a long time why things have been so difficult, why you've had to go through so much, but it's because you were being tested. Your heart, your faith, your ability to stand firm, everything about you was being shaped for this very moment. And now, it's time to answer that call. The time to sit back and wait is over. It's time for you to step into the life God has called you to live. The question is, are you ready to move? The call to action isn't just about you. It's about the people you will impact, the lives you will change, and the destiny you will fulfill. You've been chosen because you are ready for this. The world may not understand your journey, but God does. It's time for you to rise. The divine timing and acceleration. Now, there's something I want you to understand about divine timing. This isn't about human timing, where things take months, years, or decades. When God moves, it's swift, sudden, and powerful. You might not even see it coming, but when it hits, everything in your life will shift. I want you to imagine a tornado, yes, a whirlwind. You're standing at the edge, feeling the pressure of the winds building, and then, in an instant, it arrives. The winds are fast, strong, and powerful. Your life will be swept up into something far beyond what you imagined. That's how divine acceleration works. You might feel like you've been waiting forever, but when it's time for God to move, He doesn't waste a second. The moment has arrived for you, and with it comes a flood of opportunities, blessings, and breakthroughs that will overwhelm you. Your calling isn't delayed. It's simply waiting for the right moment. God doesn't need to wait for the perfect circumstances to unfold, because His timing is beyond what we can comprehend. This is why you've been feeling the pressure. It's because something big is coming, and the divine clock is ticking faster than you think. The doors that have been closed for so long will now open. The connections you've been praying for will materialize. Everything you've been preparing for is about to come to fruition, but you must move swiftly. God doesn't move in human time, He operates outside of it, and He is about to bring divine acceleration into your life. The questions you've had about your purpose, the doubts you've struggled with, they are about to fade away as God's timing takes over. There's no more waiting. There's only stepping into the rapid flow of what He's about to do. It's your time now, and it's going to happen quickly. the mantle of power and authority. When Elisha stepped into his calling, something powerful happened. He received the mantle from Elijah, and in that moment, he was instantly elevated to a position of authority and power. The mantle wasn't just a symbol, it was a transfer of power, a divine exchange that catapulted Elisha into a new realm of influence. This isn't just a story from the past, this is happening for you now. You too are being called to step into your mantle. The question is, are you ready to carry it? The mantle is not just a symbol of your calling, it's a tangible demonstration of your authority. God is placing His divine power on you, and with that comes the responsibility of carrying it well. You've been tested, you've been prepared, and now the time has come to take up that mantle with courage, faith, and boldness. But there's one thing you must remember: the mantle requires action. It's not something you can hold onto and simply admire. The moment you receive it, you must move. The mantle you're being given is heavy, but it's also empowering. It's not just about authority, it's about action. Elisha didn't hesitate when he received his mantle. He immediately set out to do the work God had called him to do. It's the same for you. When God places His mantle of power and authority on your life, it's time to take bold action. The mantle is not for sitting idly by, it's for moving forward, stepping into your destiny and fulfilling the purpose that's been set before you. You will encounter challenges along the way, but remember this: the mantle is your divine empowerment. God has already equipped you for what lies ahead. The mantle you carry is a mark of the power God has entrusted you with. It is a sign to the world that His hand is upon you. Don't shrink back. Don't second-guess yourself. The mantle of power and authority has been placed on you, and it's time for you to rise and step into the fullness of your calling, trusting God's plan without looking back. When was the last time you made a decision that you knew would change your life forever? A decision that required you to leave the past behind and step into something unknown, something bigger. Trusting God's plan is not just about believing in the destination. It's about stepping into the unknown with the confidence that He has already paved the way. It's about trusting Him, even when the path isn't clear and the road ahead is filled with uncertainty. I remember a time in my own life when I had to let go of everything I thought I knew and surrender to a plan much greater than my own. I had always believed that if I worked hard enough and made the right decisions, I could shape my future. But then, God called me to something different, something beyond my understanding. There was a moment when I had to release my grip on my own plan and trust that His was far better. It wasn't easy. There were doubts, fears, and questions. I wondered if I was making a mistake, but through it all, I felt His gentle whisper, reminding me that His plans for me were far more significant than anything I could imagine. Looking back, I realized that trusting God was the most transformative decision I could have made. It didn't happen overnight, but step by step. I saw His faithfulness, and now I understand that trusting His plan is the key to unlocking everything He has for me. Trusting God means you don't have to know every detail. It means walking by faith and not by sight. It's choosing to believe that the journey ahead, no matter how uncertain, is part of a divine purpose that is being fulfilled. And when you choose to trust Him fully, something remarkable happens. You stop looking back. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop holding on to what you thought was meant for you, and you begin to embrace the plan He has already set in motion. The beauty of it all is that you don't walk this journey alone. God is with you, leading you every step of the way. So today, I want to ask you, are you willing to let go of the past and trust God's plan without looking back? The moment you do, you'll begin to experience the peace that comes from knowing He's in control. The whirlwind of blessings. Have you ever experienced a time in your life where everything suddenly changed? One moment, you were navigating through life, uncertain about the future, and then, without warning, everything accelerated. The whirlwind of blessings is exactly that, an unexpected surge of opportunities, resources, and breakthroughs that sweep you off your feet. I'll never forget the moment when I was in the middle of what seemed like an ordinary day, and suddenly, everything began to shift. The phone rang, and it was the opportunity I had been waiting for. Then another call came, and another. In what felt like a matter of days, my life went from feeling stagnant to being filled with a whirlwind of blessings. But here's the thing about blessings: They don't always come when you expect them, and they don't always come in the form you imagined. When God releases blessings, it's not always about comfort, it's about acceleration. It's about moving you into your divine purpose, and sometimes that means stepping into a whirlwind of change. That's exactly what happened to me. The whirlwind wasn't just about the blessings I received, it was about how quickly everything unfolded. Opportunities that had taken years to develop suddenly arrived all at once. What I had once prayed for was now at my doorstep. It was overwhelming, and at first, it felt like too much to handle. But here's what I realized. God doesn't give you a whirlwind of blessings to overwhelm you. He gives it to you because He's equipping you for what's next. He knows you can handle it. He knows you're ready. And that whirlwind is a sign that you've stepped into a season of divine acceleration. It's a sign that your time has come. If you're in the middle of a whirlwind right now, feeling overwhelmed by the changes and blessings arriving all at once, know this, it's a good thing. Embrace it. Step into it. God has been preparing you for this moment, and now He's ready to bring you to new heights. The whirlwind may feel chaotic, but it's filled with purpose. The blessings you're receiving are only the beginning of something far greater. So, embrace the wind, let it carry you, and trust that God's plan is unfolding perfectly, releasing fear and doubt. Fear and doubt are the two enemies that often stand between us and the life God has called us to live. They whisper lies into our ears, convincing us that we are not enough, that we don't have what it takes, or that we are unworthy of the blessings God has prepared for us. I, too, have struggled with these voices. I remember a time when fear and doubt nearly crippled me, when I hesitated to take the leap of faith because I wasn't sure if I was truly ready. But here's what I've learned. Fear and doubt will always try to creep in, especially when you're on the verge of something great. The closer you get to stepping into your purpose, the louder those voices will become. But what I discovered is that the key to overcoming them isn't fighting them with your own strength. It's releasing them to God. You see, fear thrives in uncertainty. Doubt thrives in insecurity. But when you place your trust in God, you give up control, and in doing so, you release the grip fear and doubt have on your life. I had to learn that it's okay to feel afraid, it's okay to have doubts, but I didn't have to let them control me. I had to make a choice. Either I could continue to live in fear and doubt, or I could step into my calling, trusting that God's power is greater than any fear. Releasing fear and doubt means stepping out of your comfort zone and trusting that God will equip you for every challenge ahead. It's about embracing the unknown and knowing that His perfect love casts out all fear. The moment you release your fear and doubt to God, you open the door for His peace and confidence to flood your heart. You no longer live under the weight of uncertainty. You live in the fullness of His promises. So, if fear and doubt are holding you back today, take a moment to release them. Trust that God has already gone before you, and He will make a way where there seems to be no way. The double portion anointing. When the prophet Elijah passed his mantle to Elisha, something incredible happened. A double portion of anointing was transferred. This wasn't just a symbolic gesture. It was a divine exchange that empowered Elisha to carry on the work of Elijah with even greater authority. I believe that, just like Elisha, each of us is called to receive a double portion of God's anointing. And what does that mean for you? It means that God is not just calling you to walk in the footsteps of those who have gone before you. He's calling you to exceed them. He's calling you to step into a greater level of authority, power, and influence. I can speak from my own experience. There have been moments in my life when I felt God's presence so strongly, and I realized that what He was offering wasn't just a blessing, but a divine empowerment to do the impossible. I remember when I was facing challenges that seemed insurmountable. It was in those moments that I asked God for a double portion of His anointing, because I knew that I couldn't do it on my own. And just like that, He answered. Suddenly, I found myself walking in an authority and strength that I never thought possible. The obstacles that once seemed impossible to overcome became stepping stones to greater victories. A double portion anointing isn't just about receiving more. It's about being equipped to carry out your divine assignment with boldness and power. It's about stepping into the fullness of God's plan for your life, knowing that He has equipped you for every task, every challenge, and every opportunity. If you've been feeling the call to a higher level, to greater authority, know this: God is ready to pour out his double portion on you. He is ready to elevate you to new heights, not just for your benefit, but for the impact you will have on others. Don't hesitate to ask for it. Don't hesitate to step into it. The double portion is waiting for you, and with it comes the power to change the world. Divine acceleration in every area of life. Have you ever felt like time was working against you, like no matter how hard you tried, you just couldn't seem to catch up? I've been there, in the midst of feeling stuck, watching others move forward while I stood still, questioning why my progress was so slow. But then, something shifted. I began to witness the concept of divine acceleration in my own life. And it's something that I now know is not just a possibility, but a promise for those who trust in God's timing. Divine acceleration is when God speeds up the process, when opportunities, breakthroughs, and solutions come to you faster than you could have ever imagined. For me, it was a season when things that would normally take years to accomplish began to unfold in a matter of months. I remember one moment in particular, when I had been working tirelessly on a project that seemed impossible to complete. I had prayed about it, but nothing was happening. Then, out of nowhere, an opportunity presented itself that allowed me to finish the project in a fraction of the time I had anticipated. I knew it wasn't by my strength, but by the hand of God, that everything was moving forward so rapidly. And it wasn't just in one area. This divine acceleration touched every part of my life. Relationships that had been stagnant began to flourish. Financial doors opened. My dreams were no longer distant, they were within reach. God's acceleration isn't just about speed, it's about timing, perfect timing. It's when the right doors open at the right moment. It's when everything aligns according to his plan. If you've been waiting for something in your life to move forward, know this: divine acceleration is real. It's for you. God can accelerate your growth, your success, your relationships, and your purpose. All you need to do is trust him, believe in his timing, and remain faithful in the process. The moment you open yourself up to God's acceleration, you'll realize that everything you thought was impossible is now within your grasp. The role of radical obedience and sacrifice. What does it take to unlock the doors to your divine destiny? For me, it's not just about hard work or wishing for opportunities to appear. It's about radical obedience and sacrifice. When you hear the word radical, you might think of something extreme, something out of the ordinary. And when it comes to following God's plan, that's exactly what it requires: radical obedience. But radical obedience isn't just about following rules. It's about surrendering your own will and trusting that God knows the way better than you do. I remember a time when I was faced with a decision that seemed impossible. Everything inside me screamed to take the easy road, the one that felt more comfortable, the one that everyone else was choosing. But in that moment, I heard God's whisper, and he asked me to do something that made no logical sense. I had to make a sacrifice, a big one. It didn't feel good. It didn't make sense. But I knew that if I obeyed, I would see something far greater on the other side. That was a turning point in my life, and I can tell you with certainty that radical obedience opened doors I never could have imagined. Radical obedience means doing what God asks, even when it feels difficult, uncomfortable, or even downright scary. It means trusting his heart, even when his plan doesn't align with your own. And when you combine radical obedience with sacrifice, when you're willing to give up something that you value in order to follow God's call, you enter into a realm of blessing and transformation that can only be explained by the miraculous. I've seen this principle play out time and time again in my life. Each time I surrendered, each time I made a sacrifice, I was amazed at what God did in return. The rewards weren't always material, but they were always meaningful: peace, clarity, growth, and deeper intimacy with God. If you're at a crossroads facing a decision that requires sacrifice and obedience, know this: radical obedience will lead you to the fulfillment of your divine destiny. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. And the blessings that follow, both seen and unseen, are beyond anything you could have imagined. judgment and justice for those who oppose. Have you ever felt like the world was against you? Like no matter how hard you tried to do the right thing, you faced opposition, criticism, and injustice? I've been there. It's easy to feel like your efforts are in vain when you're met with resistance, especially when that resistance comes from those who seem to have power or authority. But here's a truth I've learned. God sees every injustice, every opposition, every attack, and He will bring justice in His time. I remember a period in my life when I was being unfairly judged and criticized. No matter what I did, it felt like I couldn't win. People misjudged my motives, and no one seemed to understand my heart. At first, I tried to fight back. I tried to defend myself, but I quickly realized that my fight was not with people, it was with a spiritual battle. And that's when I decided to stop fighting in my own strength and to trust God's justice. I knew that if I trusted God to fight for me, He would bring judgment to those who sought to oppose His will in my life. And He did. Not only did He clear my name, but He brought vindication in ways I couldn't have orchestrated myself. God's judgment isn't just about punishing the wicked, it's about setting things right. When you're in a season of opposition, it can feel like God is silent, but He is always working behind the scenes. He is a righteous judge who will always bring justice to His people. Those who oppose you, those who lie about you or seek to hurt you, will not go unpunished. But remember, judgment comes not out of vengeance, but out of God's perfect will to set things right. If you are in a season of being wronged or attacked, take heart. God sees your pain, He sees the injustice, and He will bring His judgment and justice in due time. Trust in His sovereignty, trust in His timing, and know that He will make all things right. Embracing new heights, the mantle of speed and power. Do you ever feel like you're being called to more, that you're on the verge of something greater, but you can't quite put your finger on it? This is the season where God is calling His people to new heights. And this isn't just about growth in one area of life, it's about acceleration in every area. When you step into this new season, you're not only stepping into more power, but you're also stepping into a mantle of speed and authority. I can speak from experience when I say that embracing new heights can feel like an overwhelming leap. There was a time when I felt a nudge from God to take a big step forward in my calling, something that seemed impossible, something that felt out of my reach. But as I took that step, something incredible happened. God didn't just lead me forward. He equipped me with a mantle of speed and power that allowed me to move faster than I ever thought possible. Things that once felt like they would take years to accomplish suddenly started to unfold in front of me at an incredible pace. Opportunities opened up, relationships flourished, and doors I didn't even know existed swung wide open. It felt like God had given me the authority to move quickly, to act boldly, and to conquer challenges with an unmatched strength. If you're in a season of feeling called to more, know this. God is about to place a mantle of speed and power on you. This is your time to rise. This is your time to move at the speed of His will and to walk in a level of authority and influence you've never experienced before. The mantle of speed and power doesn't just change how quickly you move, it changes how effectively you move. You are being called to reach new heights, to walk with authority, and to act with power. It's time to embrace what God has for you and to step into your new season with boldness. Conclusion. As I look back on my journey, I am overwhelmed by the ways in which God has moved in my life. The divine acceleration, the radical obedience, the justice, and the speed, it all leads to one undeniable truth. God is faithful, and His plans are always better than anything I could have ever imagined. I'm living proof that when you trust Him, when you step into His will with faith, He will take you further, faster, and higher than you ever thought possible. The life of a chosen one is not without its challenges, but it's a life that is filled with purpose, power, and divine favor. If you felt the stirring in your spirit, the calling to something greater, know this, your time has come. The acceleration, the breakthroughs, the miracles, they are yours. All that is required is your trust, your obedience, and your willingness to step into the unknown. So embrace the journey, trust in His plan, and walk confidently in the destiny He has prepared for you. God is not finished with you yet. The best is yet to come.